Hi. Remember the good old days? Sorry. Remember the good old days when people just used to like vlog themselves doing things and you just watched their life and it was really chill and very, I don't know, just very, very basic. As a millennial, I'm reaching my 30s where I'm feeling a bit nostalgic for something that was a bit more simplistic. Like I'm staring at my iPhone 11 right now and I'm not even sure where the camera is. That makes me feel old. Back in 2011, I had just come back from England and I didn't know what I was doing with myself. Well, I did and I didn't. I decided that I would go to teachers college at the end of the year. I got back from my exchange in England. I'd been there for 4 months for the last trimester or semester of my entire university education. And I come back and I was working at the local university library. And I was going to go and study to become a secondary school teacher teaching English as my subject. But in between I had about I don't know, 4 months of kind of not doing very much. So I decided I would start a YouTube channel. I don't know why. I think I was just bored. Very similar to now where I'm like feeling very restless, like I need to get stuff off my chest, that I want to express myself, do things, and I don't have the patience to sit down and draw it out. Like I don't have the patience to sit down and paint a picture or make something out of clay or sculpt something or express myself through music because then I'd have to learn an instrument again. Anyway, so those options not super available to me, but I still feel like I need to express myself. I need to get stuff off my chest, and I feel like talking to someone. I have friends. I live with my husband, but I feel like just connecting with more people, and it can be really hard to do that sometimes in person because you're limited through energy and resources or location, distance. Just would like to connect with more like-minded people. So yeah, going back, 2011, I had come back from my exchange. I was working at the university library. I was planning on becoming a teacher, but I had about 4 months before that was going to kick off at the end of 2011. So I decided that I would start a YouTube channel. I'm not 100% sure why. I mean, I just said I knew why because I was restless and I wanted to connect, blah, 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 blah. But I was about to start to train to become a teacher. And a teacher with a YouTube channel didn't seem like the greatest idea. One, it's potentially very embarrassing. Two, potentially could get in trouble because I might say something that might not be great. You know, things that are not relevant, like things to do with your personal life that your students don't need to know. So yeah, I started this channel. I decided to do the mini episodes. I think I got to about episode 11. And then I went to teachers college and had basically the roughest year of my life up to that point. And a bunch of stuff happened and basically the YouTube channel just got ditched. This is very spontaneous. Oh, I'm getting really hot. Hold on. Oof. Okay, that is better, but yes, I'm wearing a Miffy t-shirt. So there's a lot of YouTubers who just look really nice. They just look really nice. They've got makeup, they do their hair, they do styling, they get ready for being on camera essentially. And I'm all for that, but I really miss, maybe this was something to do with how young a lot of people were on YouTube back in the day. So when I first started watching YouTube, I was in my teens. YouTube had just become a thing. The internet as we know it today was very new. So there weren't like beauty, makeup tutorials, all of this stuff. That stuff came later. So in terms of resources, like trying to figure out how to style yourself or how to look was really self-reliant on like who you had around you and your own personal abilities to do that. It's not like it is today where like if I really wanted to, I could probably figure out how to like, I don't know, just make myself look more presentable. Instead you get this. This is what I look like every day. Because, and this is a completely different topic, but I'm getting to the point in my life where I'm caring less about how I look and caring more about who I am and how I interact with other people in my life. Rather than always wasting time, essentially wasting time feeling self-conscious about like what I look like and how I present and how people perceive me. In saying that though, it doesn't mean it's not something that I don't worry about. Anyway, we are getting sidetracked. So there are just a lot of people on YouTube who just look really nice. I also just don't see a lot of people who look like me. There are definitely Asians, like there are a lot of Asian YouTubers and that's fantastic and I love it, but they also still don't look like me. So I'm mixed. I'm half Singaporean Chinese and half Māori. So my dad is Māori. I whakapapa. So whakapapa is just like your ancestry, pretty much. It's like, so if you come from America or for someone else that has kind of like a tribal system, that's kind of what it means. Like I hark back to. That feels like the most colonized way I could say that. I whakapapa to Ngāti Maniapoto through my dad. So Ngāti Maniapoto is a big iwi in the Waikato area, which is kind of like the upper mid area of the North Island if you look at a map of New Zealand. And then my mum is from Singapore and she's ethnically Chinese. So we kind of have like these really interesting strands of culture and tradition and history, running through my family and through me and my sister, coming from both of those backgrounds. So yeah, even though there are a lot of female YouTubers, a lot of Asian YouTubers, there's just not very many who look like me, who are of a mixed ethnicity, but also not a lot of YouTubers that I can find who are from New Zealand. If you are a YouTuber from New Zealand, could you like comment below? Because I would really like to follow you. So that's kind of why I decided to do this. I think it's also an exploration in self-expression. I got really caught up with the idea that YouTube was this potential business opportunity. You know, if you've heard the term diversified income streams, you know, this could be one of the income streams that I could make content for a living or part of a living. So I got really caught up with that idea, but it just kind of made it really stressful. It made it really just hard. I felt fake. I felt really stressed, under pressure to perform and be a certain way, or to like, even just to be really obviously authentically myself. Like there was this pressure to be like, make sure that I wasn't masking too much. So it just felt like a lot of pressure. This week I feel differently about it because I think, wouldn't it be nice if I could just have YouTube as it was again, where everyone just did vlogs and we did Vlogmas and we just got these kind of insights into other people's lives and how they lived in this way that was not super filtered by people with interest in how it was produced, how it came across, how much money it needed to make. Yeah, and I also just know that I can't do that, and there's something interesting and powerful in just accepting like, I cannot do that, so I will try and do this and see if it works. Not just financially, but in terms of me creatively. Like I just really feel like documenting my life again, mostly for myself and for future me, but also like maybe you might be interested. Maybe this could offer you a different perspective than the one that you see around, because I'm from the bottom of the world and I'm quite separate from a lot of other, you know, cultural things that might be happening in other parts of the world. Or I'm trying very specifically to live my life in a way that is sustainable for me, because I have mental health things going on and funky neurospicy things going on. But yeah, I would like to see more goblin people on YouTube, please. If you are someone who identifies with the word goblin and you have thought about making a YouTube channel, can I just encourage you to do that? I really appreciate and enjoy the like very calm sort of like aesthetic stuff, but like my house doesn't look like that. Like my room doesn't look like that. My life doesn't look like that. And it's giving me this unrealistic expectation of what my life could or should look like. And so I think especially because we're bombarded with all this stuff, that's one of the things I'm trying to let go, is this idea that there is something that I need to attain or reach for in order to feel happy or successful. Especially if you have mental health stuff, you know what I mean, because you need to adjust your expectations real quick sometimes. So welcome to this channel. Hi, my name is Kim. I am a Māori, Singaporean, Chinese, New Zealander living in Auckland, or Tāmaki Makaurau, as we say in Te Reo Māori. I manage a bookstore, a secondhand bookstore here in Auckland. I also am a freelance illustrator, or at least trying to be. Can you still call yourself a freelance illustrator if you don't actually have any freelance jobs? I'm gonna say yes, because we are aspiring, regardless of whether you get the job or not. That is the work that you're doing. Yeah, that's predominantly what I work in. I do a contract with an awesome online magazine called The D-List, which is about representing disability culture here in Aotearoa, or New Zealand. And yeah, and I do that for about 6 hours a week, and then work at the bookshop maybe 2 days a week, while managing things as well remotely. And yeah, trying to get a bunch of artistic and creative things off the ground. I'm frequently overwhelmed. I consistently give myself too much to do. I believe in the importance of kindness very, very strongly, and people being themselves, because man, it's hard not being yourself in a world that doesn't seem to want to accept you or be okay, or just even tolerant, not even accepting, just tolerant of who you are. Not that I've faced so much of that myself, but I'm just aware of it, and I'm aware of how tiring it could be because I've spent a lot of my life masked or confused as to why I am the way that I am. And that's still ongoing. I just turned 34. I made a realization the other day that I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if I could do this before I turn 35. And in my head, that was like a couple of years away. And then I realized that no, that's next November. I'm turning 35 next November, like in 2024. So yeah, anyway, that was a bit of a surprise. In terms of hobbies, I read a lot. I love art. I studied English literature and art history, but I also have, I don't even know what to call them, small degrees, mini degrees. Is that what you call a graduate diploma? Basically, after you get a degree, in New Zealand at least, you can go and do a graduate diploma, which is almost like, I guess, a minor in a different subject, but you get a graduate diploma at the end of it. So I have that in teaching and in graphic design with illustration. I did go through teacher training, but I don't work in it. That's a story for another time. Remember, 2022 was the hardest year of my life up to that point. I feel very silly now, but we're just going to sit with that. We're going to sit with that vulnerability because that's kind of the point of this. I've been watching a YouTube channel recently that I've really vibed with, just because she is just so authentically herself. And when I say that, I mean just like, it's just her everyday stuff. And I just really appreciate that she's just herself and that I'm just seeing her life. And honestly, it just feels like a catch-up session with a friend. Her name is Lauren, and I will put her the link to her YouTube channel in the comments. But watching her channel recently has kind of inspired me to try this again and to do it with less finesse. Yeah, I don't know. There's just so many people who are so good at what they do that I feel like it really prevents people, specifically me, but it prevents me from feeling like I could even try, because there are already people who do things so amazingly well and much younger, like, you know, especially as I get older. Like these are kids, these are people who are doing things to me who seem really, really young and who have managed to achieve a certain level of success that I couldn't even fathom at that age. Me completely forgetting that they're like 1 in a million talented, also lucky person. There are tons of people the same age or older or younger who have not done something like that. So I try to remember that. But yeah, so this is me putting this out there because I want you to try something that you've been wanting to do for ages, but have been too shy to do it, or feel too, I don't know, it's just too vulnerable. And it is vulnerable, but I'd love to see more of this type of content on YouTube and in the world. Again, this is not to say the other stuff is inauthentic or that it's bad or that it's made up or overly produced, none of that. But I think I just, you know, we all kind of have our levels, and there are just so many YouTubers who like are fantastic, but I'm just like, oh, I feel way too goblin for that. Way too awkward, way too strange. Today I express myself as like a fish out of water just flopping around. I think it's just nice to see a diversity of different things out there. And so this is my contribution to it. Anyway, welcome to my channel. Like and subscribe, I guess. Bye.